Hey guys, welcome to the green room. I'm so happy you guys could be here.
Thanks
We're in the
for having
studio.
us.
This is fun. This is the first time we've been in the studio, which is kind of cool because this was the concept of like songwriting, like basically songwriting sessions are therapy. All the songs we've written.
So true.
It's so true.
It's literally therapy.
Like, it's so crazy because I feel like I avoided therapy for so long for that reason because I feel like I would just go make music and it would be so
Oh, you didn't
healing.
need it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would feel like I would go in and I'd write a song and it would just be like, you walk out and it feels like it's so healing.
It's like a version of therapy for sure. That's how I feel. That's why I haven't gone to therapy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
So we need to take away your songwriting so you guys go to
bruh.
therapy?
I know! We can no longer
Maybe.
write songs. I mean, but wait, when did you first start writing? I don't even
Me?
think I
When
knew
was
that.
like 10?
What was the first song you wrote?
I don't remember. It was like...
Girl, I know you remember.
I don't. I've literally I wrote so many songs when I was little, so I don't know. Yeah.
Do you feel like it came from like a painful place, or do you think it was like just instinctual?
I just I had shit to that I wanted to come out, but it was things I'd never been through before. You know?
Were you just sensitive?
I think it
and
was
picked
from
up
watching my parents, probably.
Picked up other
Really?
people's
Like
stuff?
their relationship, yeah.
Do you know what's so crazy about that? I feel like a lot of times like pain is like something like I can relate to it in the sense of like panic attacks. Like people always like, or what's your trigger for a panic attack? And like for me, sometimes like the panic attack isn't like I could literally be just totally fine at home and all of a sudden I have a panic attack. So sometimes it's not triggered by like the actual like thing, but something that like you could have experienced all this pain and then like out
Like
of
a build
nowhere,
up?
yeah, the intuit like you're just intuitive and you're like all of a sudden you write a song and you don't even know where it came from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a part of it, for sure.
And it feels like euphoric in a way. Because I feel like now, for me doing therapy, like, and it's definitely a struggle, like, to be able to go and talk to a stranger and be like, these are my problems.
It's
But
so scary, yeah.
have you done it before?
No, I've never had therapy.
Well,
This
this is your first time.
Just out of curiosity, I'm kind of curious about something.
Yeah.
What do you think therapy's like? Because it must sound so
Yeah, yeah.
weird if you've never done it.
It sounds fucking terrifying because I
Oh my god!
because I have friends that do it and they're like, yeah, it's really hard and you just like cry the whole time.
Really? That's so
Do they? Is that what they
funny.
say?
That's not-
Yeah, but they say it's like good.
How-
But it's scary because you are talking to a stranger about like all your traumatic shit, you know?
Well, it doesn't start out like insta traumatic stuff. It's a lot of laughing too and getting to know each other. Just I don't
How
know.
do you feel like you start? Like if somebody is like unfamiliar with therapy, how do you do it?
Like, how do you-
I'm just How do you start the like?
Oh,
what's
like-
your Like,
okay, how
do
do
you
you
get
it?
yeah?
I just how we're talking right now.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is. But
I mean, I
that's
feel
my
like that
style, though. I mean, other people might be more different and stay more quiet
Yeah.
until the other person starts talking. But to me, that sounds so terrifying.
She's like, oh my
I
god.
would rather never go at all if it was like that. And so I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to be that type of therapist ever.
Well, okay, so my experience with therapy, like I've gone to a couple, and I feel like it's the same as like dating. You know what I mean? You have
Or
to
like if you
find the
vibe
right
with
person.
a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, if it's a click.
Like there was this one therapist that I went to see one time, and I feel like she just like the whole time I was like fully felt like she was judging me. So it's just like that's like not. I was
See,
like, this
that's
is not
so
therapy. I
scary,
was like, what's
bro.
going on? I would say something, and I'm just like, wait, this is like supposed to be
Will
therapy.
they just
and I feel
nod and
worse.
stare at you?
Literally, I'm like, oh my god. But
Not the nod.
I know. I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm done with therapy.
awkward.
No, but I wanted to talk about toxic relationships today.
Okay.
I feel like it's so fitting because we just wrote Always Been You about
It's
it.
so fitting.
I mean, and that's a good example too because I feel like Always Been You was such a song that like you were going through something, I was going through something, Steven was going through something. I feel like, but like we just came together and we didn't even necessarily talk about all of our situations in the songwriting, but it just came into the song. Don't you think?
No, 100%.
Like I feel like we walked in and we were like it's interesting with songs because you just like sing something on the mic and whatever you're feeling, it's subconsciously comes
it
out.
kind of comes out, yeah.
Which is so crazy because sometimes you're like, people are like, oh, how did you come up with that lyric? And you don't really know. It just feels like it was given to you. And that's the same thing about like pain that just lives inside of you as a creative person because like writing a song just makes you be able to purge it in a way that feels like it's
a release?
like a release.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just like, and I think that song in particular was something that we sort of like left being like, oh, Didn't it feel like we're just like emptying out so much stuff?
No, 100%. Especially with like what it's about. I don't know. It was just such a song that like.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your
Like,
situation, Jessie.
I feel like people think it's a love song, kind of.
I know.
But it's really about like being addicted to a toxic relationship. Like being addicted to like, but not being able to pull away. I feel like, and
Not being able to get out.
not being able to get out because you're so addicted to it.
Why did you feel addicted to it? Like, what made you feel like you wanted to keep going back?
I think because of the constant up and downs, and because of like my own mental health. If I would get into a bad place, that's the first place I would go. It's like,
you can lean on.
yeah. But that's so toxic, and definitely I stopped doing that, so that's good. But
For now.
nah, bro, I'm done with all that.
Was he the person that you confided in all the time, or?
Yeah, just because he was the only person that I like felt understood.
Oh, and then
That's
then when he
interesting.
acted toxic, you kind of want to just wait it out till you get back to the person you could talk to.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know what's so crazy about, to me, like, toxic relationships is I think, like, even though you're going through so much pain, that person makes you feel the most comfortable.
No, 100%.
Isn't that so
it's like
weird?
you experienced it together.
But not even, okay, like,
Trauma
I don't know.
bond.
It's like a group pain. Yeah.
No. okay, but like this is how it feels to me. Like, do you know, like, it's so weird, like you could literally be in a situation that's so healthy, but you don't feel connected to that person in the same way. So if you're with that, like, a person that makes you actually like feel good in the ways that you're supposed to, it doesn't feel healing. But when you're with somebody who's toxic, that like is like, oh, like wanting to like put you down or make you feel bad all the time, for whatever reason, because you're connected to that person, it actually makes you feel safer. Why is that?
Well,
Do you feel
I
like
have
that?
quite an
Yeah.
opinion on that because
Okay,
a lot
okay.
of times,
I
there's
wanna
a
know.
reason for that. Because a lot of times that people that are toxic, they have sometimes personality disorders, and
Yeah.
what they'll do is they'll mirror exactly what you want. So if you're the type of person that needs to be comforted a certain way, they could act it out, but they can only do that for a certain amount of time because it's not who they really are. So they'll become your perfect boyfriend or whoever you always wanted to
So
date.
scary.
And then the minute they can't take it anymore, that's when they act out, and they also are very insecure about losing you. So then that's when you get the anger, the jealousy. Where were you? Who were you talking to? What do you know? And just that's when it starts coming out. And then you're all, who is this person? And you want to get out of there and leave. And then all of a sudden the comforting person, the person that's mirroring what you want, comes out. And so it's this push and pull, and it's really, really hard to get out. It's like a Venus flytrap.
It's
Easy
so
to get in,
weird.
hard to get out.
Ah. Yeah.
That is so crazy. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Because I feel like that makes so much sense. Because, you know, like when you're in those like heated fights and you feel like this like, like if you, okay, like the feeling is like if you leave, it's like your whole life, like you can't focus on anything. Like,
so
for,
awful.
right?
Yeah.
Like
So
you,
awful.
like for me, I feel like so depleted.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the way I am, at least. Like sometimes it's like even hard to like even write a song in that moment, because I think like to me I'd rather write the song after I'm like out of that experience, but like in the right
100%. Because you're too. It's like I get this feeling in my stomach when I would used to get in fights like that, and it's like your stomach hurts.
literally like you feel like it feels like death. Like I don't even like it feels
It's
like
so
the closest.
awful, and like you can't focus on anything.
Have you guys heard of fog?
Well,
Okay.
like fog.
Well, not fog. That was the dumbest question. Maybe we could edit that out. But it's actually, it stands for fear, obligation, guilt. It's what you feel when you're in a toxic relationship.
Fear. Okay.
And so when you come out of the fog, then you could see the relationship for what it is. But when you're in it, it feels foggy.
Oh my god,
that
that's
makes
actually
a lot of sense. Yeah.
because like because I think that like it feels like if you lose that person, you're like feeling like this sense of like losing yourself.
Yeah.
Like you don't, and I think that's such a hard place to be in, because like for me it's like I just want to like sleep all day. Like I won't like it's hard to even function.
Right.
And it feels like that person's so connected to you. And then you're so right about that, because once you get out and you actually like can get over the person, you're like, oh my god, like how did I ever like them?
No,
It's like the
literally,
weirdest
you're
thing.
like, what the fuck was I tripping for?
Yeah, you start getting disgusted by the person.
You're like, yeah, exactly. It's so weird.
Do you feel like in that, like the chemistry with that person and you, do you feel like that they're like sort of like preying on those things about you to get you to be that in love, or do you think it's
Yes,
real love?
because they
I'm like-
need it. That a lot of people that are toxic, and I say toxic because they have to work on themselves too, But what they'll do is they have an emptiness inside them, a lack of identity. So they assume your identity. So you'll start notice that this person that loves you and adores you, well, wow, they like the same things as you. They do everything alike, and they can't stand losing you because then they have an emptiness. So then you guys get this bond where you can't get away from each other.
Isn't that so crazy?
It's so crazy.
So how do you know, like, in those situations, like, is it ever real love, or do you think that it's just like the love? It feels like love because
that's
it's
rough. I think about that
like
a
that.
lot,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Oh.
Like,
Well, I guess I'd have to ask you with the toxic relationship that you may or may
tell
not
us
been in. Yeah, did you start like losing yourself? Did you get built up? Was the person in your corner, or were they super needy?
No, I definitely felt like I lost myself so much. It put me in the darkest place I've ever been in, and it was just like, I don't know. It felt like nothing else mattered at the time, which is so stupid because I'm literally 17 and it feels so dramatic, but like in that moment, it's the worst thing ever when you feel like you're losing someone that's like constantly puts you down and then picks you back up.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, that is
And when
such
they
a,
pick
that's
you,
so when they pick you up, it's like
so nice. It's so great. It's like the best feeling ever. It's like
that's
the constant highs and lows are just crazy, and I feel like that's
The
why
intensity.
Yeah.
Artists are often attracted to intensity too, so it puts you guys more at risk.
100%. I feel like I almost need that, but it's like that's so fucked because it makes me so miserable.
Right.
Yeah.
But when one of the things with toxic relationships is it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel healthy. They're not adding to your life. They need you. And that's when you know when you're losing yourself and you're needed so much. But you also, like, if you come from a background where you feel like you have to give to get, then you just kind of wait out because you're all, I guess I just have to have a real shitty relationship to get built up. And that's not how it's supposed to be.
It's so weird though, because like if you think about it, you can come into that. Like sometimes when I think about the toxic relationships that I've been in, it's like before that you're like, oh my god, I feel so empowered, I feel so good, I know, like you can walk into a room, own it, and be like you really feel like all the ways that you should feel, and then you meet a person and it's just like, can that be depleted so fast? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found myself slipping to the point where like I will like walk into that same room and feel like, who am I?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like they don't even need to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just in your mind and you're constantly checking yourself for the things that you were so positive before about. You were like, oh, I know that, like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like you could look at this lamp and be like, oh, it's yellow or whatever, and just, it's so, like, obvious. But, like, when somebody depletes that from you, it's like somebody could tell you it's red, and then you would be like, oh, maybe it is red.
That's actually
Is
the
it really?
perfect
That's-
example they give for
that's such a
domestic
great-
violence.
Like, that's so scary to me. Like,
No.
We'll lock you in
Wow.
this room, don't let you have any outer influences, and tell you every day that lamp is red, and no one comes in and tells you anything different. And every time you go, well, I think it's yellow. No, it's not. It's red. Then you're going to start believing it's red no matter what.
So, like, that's such a great way to explain it, I feel like.
no, it's like so, that's literally
Wow.
how isn't that so crazy to
it's
think
so
about?
crazy.
Because, like, you could literally be like, I know, like in your, like, somewhere in your thought process, you're like, okay, I know it's yellow.
Mm-hmm.
But they've convinced you so much that it's red that you're like, okay, maybe I've never known my
They
whole
make
life.
it
Yeah.
seem so normal, and
Yeah.
it's like, is it normal?
That's why
Like,
they
am
don't
I
like
being
friends.
dramatic?
Yeah, you
No,
think
literally.
you're dramatic.
And
Yeah.
and that's, you know what's
Wow.
so interesting to think, like, it's so funny because my dad's a therapist, so I don't know if it, like, sometimes I think
Yeah,
about,
we always
like,
worry about our kids.
but I feel like I'm very, like, self-aware in the sense that, like, I know these things, but when it comes down to, like, being in a toxic relationship, you can know something, but it's hard to put that into action. Does that make sense? Like, I could
Yes,
literally sit in, again, bringing it up, like, I could literally sit in a room and be like, okay, I know this is yellow, but, like, in my self-awareness, but, like, have to sit in the room the whole time and tell people, like, no, it's red. Like, the whole time. And they're like, you're crazy. It's not red, Jenna. It's yellow. And you're like, no, it's red. And the whole time you're like, it's red, it's red. And then everyone's looking at you like, what? Like,
But all
you're
those people
crazy.
that look at you like that, your partner will not want them around. They'll go, oh, she's a bitch, or they just want to use you, and they'll try and get rid of those people.
Literally. They'll
Yeah.
be like, she's crazy.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And then
Yeah.
you know what's so, like, fucked up about that too is that in that you start to, like, in a toxic relationship, you start to, like, feel like actually this is a good question. Sometimes I feel like I lose my friends or people around me because I'm, like, so addicted to this other person that's, like, making me feel this way. So I feel like in that, because you start to, like, lose yourself, you're losing your relationships with other people. So you start to feel like, oh,
You need them more.
like, no, not even, like,
Oh.
for me, I'm saying, like, sometimes I feel like, am I making a bad impression on these people where I'm now going to lose all these other people that mean something to me, but, like, I'm willing to risk that for this other person because I'm so addicted to that. And because I have, like, let's say, like, okay, like, if you're my best friend, or if we're best friends, and, like, the whole time, like, we were talking about this, and, again, this is going to be the story arc. We're going to go from the lamp and all around. But if I was, like, the whole time, and you were like, Jenna, like, this, no, you're wrong. Like, the lamp is yellow, and I was like, it's red, and we fought about it, and all of a sudden, you're like, okay, you're crazy. Like, I can't be with you right now because you're not seeing clearly.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary because you're losing people that are, like, actually real around you.
Yeah.
But you start to, like, you forget that they're real because you start questioning them, and then you start to lose people.
Yep.
Do you
become
think
more
that-
isolated.
So what I wanted to know is, do you think that, like, those people, do you think that's a real thing, or is that in your head? Like, do you think those people really are, like, questioning you, or do you think that, like, that's the thing, like, I never know that. Like, I literally sometimes think, like, am I jeopardizing all these other things in my life, and is it actually affecting me, or is it just in my head?
So
like-
not trusting your own reality.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, do you think that's, like, how real do you think that is? Or do you think we imagine this stuff because of the toxicness?
Well, I think that people do pull away if you don't, like, see eye to eye anymore. I mean, eventually no one's going to want to be around because the other person's just controlling you. You're not your same self who they became friends with. And that's why it's so dangerous to get isolated. That's why you need close friends to ground you. You should never have to give up your friends for your partner.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know how you feel. Like, did your situation, did he make you feel like you had to give up your friends, or did you just do it because you felt like you had to because you didn't want to, like, tell them about it because it's, like, kind of embarrassing?
Well,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, for me, like, when I was dating this person, like, I didn't hang out with friends, and it was the same thing because he would get mad at me and, like, make me feel like shit for being around, like, other people,
Right.
you know? So,
Like you're not giving enough time to him.
or, like, he wouldn't
yeah,
want
give
me
it-
around, like, if there was, like, a dude there, or, like, if they had a brother or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, no, I found myself so isolated, which makes it even harder because you do start to question, like, everything, I feel like, when they're telling you the lamp is red.
The lamp.
Yeah.
okay, but, like, okay, for example, like, have you ever been, like, was he, like, telling you that, okay, I'm just putting things out there from
Okay.
experience, okay? Like, if you were, like, let's say y'all, like, went out for dinner, like, you were, like, at a party or something, and, like, you just said hi to another guy. Literally, you're just like, hey, bro, would he be like, oh, you were flirting with this person? Or
No,
like,
100%, yeah.
oh, that's so
But
annoying!
that's the thing, like, he wouldn't even go to parties with me because it was, like, I don't know, he didn't want me around other dudes, like, in general.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very controlling.
Yeah.
So, like, how did you deal with that?
I just stayed home.
Because it's easier than fighting him.
It's
huh?
easier, and I didn't want to be upset that he was upset at me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it ruins the time. You're out there knowing that you're going to have to kind of pay for it in a way
Yeah.
when you get home.
And also, like, if I were to do something like go to a party, he would do something to get back
Mm-hmm.
at
Get
me.
even?
Yeah.
Punish you?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, this is, like, it's kind of heavy, but, like, this is why we're here. No, but this is, like, when I'm relating to my situation, like, when I first started, like, when I moved out of my house in, like, I sound so Canadian right there.
I like it.
Canada. No, but in Calgary, and I moved to Vancouver, there was this guy that, like, it was, like, the epitome of toxicness, and, like, that's what this would be. So, like, I literally would lock myself in my room for, like, 8 hours. I didn't have friends. I didn't do anything because it was, like, exactly that situation. Like, I wouldn't even know what I was doing. I literally would be, like, I could just literally just be out for coffee with somebody, and they're like, oh, it was just so controlling to the point where it wasn't even worth it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't even make friends because it was like, it's so exhausting and so emotionally heavy to be in that situation because you just have to pay for it. So for me, I was like, oh, I'm better off just, like, sitting alone.
Because you don't want to pay for it. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Because
No,
at the end of the day,
100%.
you're just going to be like, you know, it's going to be harder to take that, and because you almost have to feel like, they make you feel like you did do something wrong. You're like, and, like, I would be like, oh, wait, I was at coffee with them, but maybe I was wrong. Like, maybe I
Exactly.
shouldn't
Yeah.
have drank the coffee. Oh, I'm like, no, but I know it sounds
The
funny, but I would
coffee.
be like, maybe that was bad. Like,
No,
I was like,
that's
maybe.
the thing. You start to question it. You're like, was is this on me?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you would literally be like, oh, like, maybe they're right. They must be right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
or I had a
okay.
job, like, at this restaurant, and, like, obviously there's tons of guys that work there, and it's just, like, it's, like, you're just talking to, like, somebody at work, and you're like, oh, wait, maybe I shouldn't be talking to the guys because maybe you should just talk to girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I feel like
You know
it's
what I mean?
so,
You're like, wait, what?
it's
like,
so weird, too, because of, like, especially what we do. I mean, we're in, like,
music.
yeah, and we're constantly meeting new people, and, like, you have to write songs with dudes
I know.
sometimes, you know, so.
Literally all the time. I mean, it's a male.
All the time.
I mean, hopefully we're changing that, you know?
Yeah.
Hopefully
Right,
there's
right.
more females,
Yeah,
but
true.
there is a lot of guys in our industry, and that's the whole thing, is, like, how do you, let's just say, like, the guy's a totally, like, normal guy, and he's not trying to be creepy or anything like that, because that does exist a lot in music, but if it's not that case, like, how are you supposed to, can't you relate to somebody if they're a guy, you know what I mean, like, in the same way that you would a girl, just to write the song? Like, why would you have to,
Yes.
like, take, like, it's almost like you hurt the song by holding back, because you're like, oh, well, if I can't tell you my stuff and get close to you because I feel like I'm going to get in trouble, like,
You're not putting your
you're
whole
not
self
putting your
in your
whole self in
project,
the
right?
project. Yeah,
Yeah.
so how do, and I feel like, I mean, obviously this is just experience because I am a female, but I feel like as a female you struggle with that a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
because it's like, I mean, I don't know, do you think that females struggle with toxicness more than guys?
Well, actually, I've been treating a lot of guys that have been with toxic females because this, but that doesn't mean it doesn't.
Maybe
You know,
the toxic ones, no.
no. Well, here's the deal, though. Is
No, that's
no, I don't
No,
think
no,
so.
yeah.
But jealousy is not a normal part of a relationship. You should be able to talk to guys and girls, and your partner should know and trust you. And if they don't trust you, that's more about them. If you're a trustworthy person, you should be able. I've treated people that their spouses would get mad at them if they went to the grocery store because they thought somehow they'd go to the grocery store, check out, and they'd sleep with the checkout person. Like they had this
That's what I mean.
imagining like that
Yeah.
this would happen, and that's ridiculous. It's insane, and it's because they were so insecure and their anxiety would build so high, and they would create these scenarios that weren't true. And then, you know, you guys are trying to control their reactions, but they're going to be that jealous no matter what you do because that's their own mental health issue.
So you're saying that the spouse would be there at the
No,
grocery
they'd be,
store?
you go to the grocery store, let's say, and they'd be home, and they'd go, okay, it should take you 10 minutes, but it took you 20. So somehow you had sex in that extra 10 minutes.
That's real, though.
And it's really bad sex,
That-
too, if it's that fast. I mean, really? Like, what's going on? Sorry.
Oh my god! That's hilarious. No, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like you, and then you know what's so crazy about the toxicness is that you actually check yourself and you're like, wait, maybe I was flirting with the.
Yeah,
checkout
you
person.
assume
No,
you did
literally.
something wrong.
And then like they'll ask you like, did you? And then you were like, no, and you're like, are you? Yes, you were. And then they'll say all this stuff to the point where you're like, oh, okay, actually, maybe.
Damn.
When I gave them my money, maybe we touched hands for 2 seconds, girl, and I was
Right.
flirting. And you're like, oh shit, like I was flirting. And then you're like, I'm sorry. And then you end up being the one to apologize.
For what?
And then
too?
you're like, wait.
What?
You're like, and the whole time, and then you start to be like, I am wrong. And then that's what it's so interesting, like, about this whole thing, because I think you can be aware. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
not like you don't know that it's happening to you, but for some
You
reason,
see it.
Mhm.
You
it
see
starts
it,
to,
yeah.
like, shrink your confidence.
Also, it just starts feeling like more and more normal.
That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
it gets normalized
Come on,
100%.
Definitely.
How do you deal with that? Like, how do you, like, in those situations, because I think in these, like, at least in my experience, like, when you go through it, you feel like you don't have an escape. Like, it feels like, you know, like, you couldn't possibly imagine getting out. Like, how do you go about getting out of these situations? Because I know that, obviously, you know what, the thing is, I think a lot of people, and this is, I mean, you would know better than me, but, like, I'm sure 90% of people go through this, you know, so
A
for
lot of
anybody
people.
that's watching this, I'm sure it's like, you know, and for us and for people that are watching, like, what are steps you can take to actually be able to remove yourself from those situations and feel like you can heal from it?
Well, you know what, we talked about therapy being terrifying, but it's also a really good place to learn, you know, what your normal is, because sometimes you kind of forget what your normal is.
Right.
Also, you know, there's the extreme situations where I have to refer people to shelters and such. But when you're talking about like dating situations where it's more emotional abuse,
right.
You know, keeping that good friend, and you don't have to report. You don't have to tell the person you're with everything you're doing just because they're asking. You could have secret conversations with your best friend about it. You can
like,
keep
what do you
it.
mean?
For example, like, I don't know if you had this happen ever, but a guy that's really toxic will go, "Who are you talking to? What are you doing?" Like, they'll want to know everyone you're talking to, everything you're doing. You'll feel you have to report on it. And you don't have to. Your own boundaries. You don't have to tell them anything. It's up to you, and you kind of lose that.
But
how do you not?
But that's what I'm
That
saying.
makes
Like,
you sound sus if you don't.
That's what I'm
No.
saying.
Well,
Exactly. That makes you feel sus, and then it puts you down the web. Like, how do you be like if they're like, "Oh, what did you do today?" And then you start to be like, "I don't want to say anything because everything's guilty." You know what I mean?
If you're like, I'm not telling you, they're gonna be like, you fucked the cashier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like,
But then there's the boundaries. Like, then that's when you know, because that's why this type of show is so great, because maybe someone watching or listening will know, oh my gosh, that's not normal. That's not a way to live. And then you realize you can call one of your friends, because maybe you were you knew what was normal before, but you kind of lose it when you're in that. And so just having people like you talk about it, so they know it's not normal. It's not normal to be questioned. You shouldn't have to account for all your time.
so you think a lot of people don't realize that it's toxic?
Yes.
That's interesting.
No, definitely.
Because I feel like in any situation that I've been in that feels toxic, I'm pretty aware that it's toxic.
I know it, but it's almost like I like it, which is the fucked up thing. Like, I feel like part of me, like, craves it. Like,
What do you like about it?
I think I like that it's, like, I don't know. I feel like I need it to be inspired.
Is it
Like
the being
the-
wanted? Like the way they love?
No, I think I just like the constant up and downs. Like, it's awful, but at the same time, like, I crave that. Yeah. So maybe I'm a little toxic, but listen, I don't know.
You know what's so funny that you say that? I'm like that too.
I'm definitely a little
I'm
toxic.
really like that. Like,
I'm not
I
even
feel...
gonna-
No, I'm definitely... I think...
I'm not going to sit here and be like, he was so shitty when... I mean, he was, but, like, I could have been
You
shitty
feed into
too.
it.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not even... Well, okay.
I probably participated
Yeah.
a couple times.
Exactly. No, and the thing is that, like, there's a thing, I think, as being a creative, bringing it back to, like, how we write songs and stuff, and I know that, like, me and Jessie are so similar in this sense, but, like it's once you create music and you feel like there's something that's on this, like, higher level that you just feel like you're addicted to. It's like a drug.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so many things in life can become boring.
Oh, so
do you know what I mean? So it's like
100%.
things that are like normal are now no longer fun.
I don't like a calm for too
Me
long.
too. Like, if I'm like, if I'm just like sitting at home and I'm like, things that like people would think would be like, oh, this is like a nice thing to do. Like, even now, like going for a walk or something, like at some point I'm like, I'm bored of this walk. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just bored. And
it's funny that you're saying this, because I'm actually someone that has really bad ADD. And and I don't know, like, sometimes when people have ADD, they could also be they're more creative than the average person. They have a higher IQ than the average person, but they get super bored and like to stir things up when things are flatline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and like the highs and lows are so crazy, because I feel like when I'm like in such a good mood, I'm like it's like the best feeling, but then you come down so heavy and you feel like for me, it's just like I'd rather feel than not feel. Like, to me, I feel like when I'm like in a very middle place, I feel like I'm not feeling anything and I can't connect.
100%. I'd rather be up and down.
Me too. So I definitely am guilty of that, like 100%. But like in terms of like being depleted of confidence is the thing that I hate, that I attach myself. Like, when you get in a toxic situation, sometimes you think that maybe you attract people that know that you're like that,
100%.
but you don't want somebody to like take your confidence away. It's like you just want to feel those like highs and lows, but you don't want to feel like the ways that like makes you feel like not yourself.
Exactly.
Like, I don't
like, not too low. I'm not trying to go too low. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You don't want to overshoot it.
But even if you are feeling low, though, it's not about like you can feel low without feeling like you don't know who you are. I think. Yeah. That's my experience. You know what I mean?
That's the too low.
That's the too low.
That's the too low.
Too low. No, but it really is. It's just like, and that's the part that's dangerous about toxicness, because I think, like she said, like, I think we probably are toxic to some extent, because we attract, you can attract toxic people, but it's different than being like I couldn't imagine, I mean, maybe we do though. I don't know.
Well, okay,
Like,
you guys aren't toxic people. You may have behaviors you've gotten in a habit of doing. Because it doesn't sound like you want to control other people. It just seems like you want to get, your brain needs like, stimulation sometimes.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But the thing that we'd work on is, where did you learn this pattern, like, of the ups and downs in a relationship? Why does that feel like love? Why do you connect that way?
I feel like it's the only love I've ever felt. Because like, that's what it says. No, just because I'm so young, like, he, like, is the only dude I've ever loved, for real. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't seen any different.
So for you, it's really good that you're talking about it, and doing therapy would be really good, because you don't want that to be your template.
Yeah. You're right.
But what did you feel like? What do you think about falling for somebody? Like, did you realize you were like that before falling for him? Like, do you think that, like, did you feel like you were super addicted to highs and lows before meeting him?
I don't know, because I met him when I was like 13 or 14.
Oh.
So I was just a kid, bro.
Yeah, you were so young.
But you could still, you could still be young.
I didn't think so. Like, I feel like it, I don't know, because it wasn't even, like, toxic for the first, like...
Oh, but that's normal.
Couple months, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
and then
they can hold it together.
And then it went... yeah, it's like, what you're saying. So then it just got more and more toxic, like, as we got older. Yeah, and I feel like I definitely, like, fed into it more. We both did, and it just got to a point where it was like, whoa, like, this is scary, like, I'm losing myself.
Right.
Yeah.
'Cause one of the things that's really important to work on is to learn when to quit.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who's really caring, hardworking, you always push yourself, and both of you are kind of like that. From what I saw, like, you're really hardworking, you don't want to give up, because you feel like, well, maybe we can make it work. Maybe.
That's the thing. That's like, it's so sad, because in your mind, I'm like, I'll go through anything for you. Like,
literally,
put me through as much as you want. Like, I'm staying where I'm riding this out, you know?
Yeah.
Which is so awful when it just is going to get worse and worse and worse.
Right. It's okay to quit a bad relationship.
That's so hard, though.
Yeah.
oh my,
I'm not a quitter.
I'm not a quitter. And the thing is no, but do you know what's crazy is, like, have you ever felt like this when it becomes, like, on days where it feels completely normal, and you're like, oh my god, this is a totally normal day. Like, you're like, this is not fun.
No, literally.
See, that's where you know you kind of are sick.
That's how, exactly. Like, damn, I'm fucked up. Like,
because you're like, wait, why should I not be enjoying this? Like,
maybe you're not that compatible.
It's like an exciting feeling in your body. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
When, like, a fight, like,
we're way
starts,
too similar.
I know.
Even though she's 17, I'm like, how do we relate to someone? Because that's exactly what it is. Like, it's like, maybe it is part of the fact that we, like, get off on, like, being creative, and we, like, have to feel so intensely to be able to, like, it's like, I feel like it's like this anointed sort of, like, thing where you feel like you're not in the planet. Like, that's how it feels.
It makes sense, though, because the people I've talked to that are trying to get out of toxic relationship patterns, they always, when they meet a guy that's, I think is amazing for them, they talk about their, but he's kind of boring. I'm all, no, wait a second. It's not boring.
And that's the problem, is, like, you do meet somebody and they treat you in all the right ways. They, like, make you feel amazing. They're like, oh my, and you're like, they check all the boxes, like, literally. Yeah. And you're like, oh my god, this person is, like, and your parents are like, oh my god, this is the guy, this is perfect. And then you're just like, but I don't look forward to hanging out with them. Like, you don't get that.
It's not the same, like,
thing.
fire. Like,
exactly.
There's not, like, a fire lit in you. Yeah.
Good. This is good therapy.
Great therapy.
Okay, we'll do, like, 10 more minutes, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's so crazy, because I think, from your experience, do you think this is something that, like, is specific to, like, creative people, or people that, like, are addicted to, like, just having, like, almost like it is a drug, like that feeling? Or do you think that just so many people go through it?
I see a lot of people go through it, but I think if you're looking for intensity in the beginning, then you're more at risk. Because a relationship, here's how it's supposed to go, and this is how toxic goes. Toxic, you meet someone and you either hook up or commit to each other within the first 2 weeks. And then after that, like, it's you want your ride and die. You want to be with them every single minute. You're talking all day long. It's not like a slow buildup. Healthy relationships, it takes longer to get to know them. Like, it should take, like, a good, like, at least a month, where you're getting to know each other. You're going, you're going to dinner, you're finding out about their past, and it goes slower. And that's when you're more of a creative person. You might want to, come on, let's go. Let's get this all going. And it goes way too fast because things that start out all fiery end fiery.
See, why does that sound so appealing though?
It literally is.
I'm like, I'll pick that one. Yeah.
Damn, what is like, this is.
Well, why does that sound appealing?
Yeah, like,
what is
why-
it about
yeah,
the
what-
fire?
I mean, I know.
Because
You go.
like I said, I want the intense. I'd rather feel too much than not enough. You know what I'm saying?
Is there a middle ground?
See,
There could be a
That's a
middle
lyric.
ground. There could be a middle
that's a
ground.
lyric, by the way. Every episode, I feel like, no, but literally,
Yeah.
I'd rather
True.
feel too much than not enough. Like, that's.
That actually
that is a
does
lyric.
Bar.
And because the thing is this is how therapy becomes song. Because it's like you literally talk about it and all of a sudden something comes out and you're like, okay. Because writing songs isn't about being like, in my opinion, it's like, oh yeah, this is such a great concept. Where like, no one can relate to it because it's not real. But if you
Alright.
say something real that people are like, oh my God, that hurt. Like just to hear that, like everyone's like, oh my God, just to hear that resonates. You don't even need to hear a melody to it. Imagine with the song. Like that's what making music is.
True.
Just
I can
putting
see
a side
that,
note
yeah.
because it's like, and so that's kind of why I wanted to do this too, because this is literally how the best songs in my career have gone down. You know what I mean? Because you just talk. All the songs we've written about aren't like, oh yeah, like what is it? Like even with sobriety, like it was like us like having a panic attack.
No.
Literally just no,
Really?
no, like actually.
You really were having a panic attack?
No, seriously, we were like, we bonded on having anxiety and like all these things, and it was just something that we were like, this is the song, and it just felt like very instinctual. And the same thing with always.
Yeah, it just kind of came out.
It just came out, and it just came out because of this, like being able to be like, just sit down in a room and be like, this is what you're going through, and sometimes it can be embarrassing to like
Yeah.
be so vulnerable with people, but when you find people that you can do that with, like in these situations, the best songs are made.
True. And it's still scary sometimes, like with people that you're like me and Jenna, like certain things are just like scary to talk about. But you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, but no, it definitely helps. Also, to be able to like put it all in a song and then like listen to it after. It's like writing a book about what you went through and then like reading it.
Right.
And like it is scary because we always talk about like going to sessions with people that like you don't necessarily gel with, or like they judge you the same way that we said to find the right therapist on these things. So it's like, imagine telling your story, or like even if you didn't tell your story, you come in and you just had like the worst thing happen to you, and you tell that person, and you take the chance that one, they don't give a shit, two, they make you feel worse, you know what I mean? Or it's like you could be in a situation where like maybe that is something that you felt like you really needed to get off your chest, but that person wasn't the right person to be able to communicate that through song. So then you feel like, I wanted to get that out, and I wasted that energy on this thing. So that's what is actually relates back to making songs, because I think when you find chemistry with people and you're able to do this and actually like talk about it, and they're like, oh my God, yes, it's like this, like it literally feels like sex. It's like the best feeling. It's like, oh my God, yes. No, but it's like,
Maybe that's why you got jealous.
no, maybe no, but it's just like such a like euphoric feeling where you can find that and you're able to like really, because it feels like, or maybe
It's
like
the best thing ever.
the best
for
thing ever.
sure, Yeah.
Like
We call it
coming-
joining in therapy when you have that click and you feel like you can really trust a person.
Okay, so I have a good example for that. Like that in Avatar when they connect.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's exactly. Doesn't it feel like that?
No,
have
it
you seen
literally
Avatar?
does.
No.
Oh,
I'm like
Okay.
smiling.
You have to
go
they touch, and
embarrassed
like
I
all of a
haven't.
sudden they're so like it's like this
they
connection
link or something.
Exactly.
No, I have to watch it.
It's like physics. So you like really feel like all of a sudden this like connection that's like this like conversation that just like pours out, and you're like, oh my God, this is like
Oh,
a
okay.
really crazy feeling.
You gotta watch it, bro. That
I
movie's
know.
so good.
Watch it tonight.
I
Watch it
will
tonight.
know, and I'll go, oh my gosh, that's what they were talking about.
No, but it's so true. Like I feel like I'm addicted to it too. Like I'm literally like, so I can't even imagine the slow build. Like that's
I
like,
can't even imagine a relationship where it wasn't like crazy, you know?
like I mean like the toxicness that I was talking about, like my first experience with it for me was like the epitome of unhealthy, and that was something that was like not something that I feel like I wanted, and like that was definitely not the example that's healthy, or I wanted to get out of it, so that was definitely like the too low example. But in terms of like now just like who you're attracted to and like the what like sort of brings that fire out of you. It's like there's always this certain element of toxicness. Like I feel like that I go like it's the same thing where you just feel like, oh my god, this makes me feel alive. That's what it makes you feel alive.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there, but you know that feeling that you get when everything's going well and you're super happy and that intensity?
Mm-hmm.
You could have that without the jealousy and the emotional abuse.
How?
And sometimes,
But
but it would be with someone that you get to know. There's a slow buildup and it grows. That actually exists. I promise you it exists, but no one believes me till they actually get there. And there is something about both of you having anxiety and both of you craving intensity too. So I'm curious what the connection is.
What do you mean to toxicness?
Yeah, because there's something about maybe it gets you out of your own mind in a way because you're focused on the relationship.
Oh, bro, yeah, because you focus on...
That's so crazy.
Like, I feel like when I'm in a toxic relationship, it makes me focus on that, and I'm not dealing with my own, like, mental struggles.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Oh wow, I love that. Well, no, I mean this is I feel like we could go on forever, but this is I think this is actually really helpful for us and also just anyone that's watching for so many different reasons. Because I think that, you know, again, it's like it's however you want to look at it. Like for us, it's like obviously like we are addicted to it to the point where like we enjoy it, but I think it's some people don't, you know what I mean? And some people want to watch and be like, oh, okay, maybe I wasn't aware. Like for us, I think we are aware because we do it. Because we do it to ourselves. But I think that we also, our challenge, me and Jessie, is to be like, how do we like find middle ground where we can like feel those ways, but not feel like we're going so low that like we're losing ourselves.
The too low.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for other people, maybe they really strive for something. They're just like in a situation where they don't realize it and they hear these things and they're like, oh wow, like. So I think this has been really helpful.
Okay, good.
All right, so before we quit, I have a couple questions. I think we should go back and forth.
All right. Okay, girl.
This is unrelated to toxic relationships. We can all take a question. Okay. Ready for this?
Okay.
Guys. All right, so let's see here. What was your first job?
Singing.
Singing, okay. What did you get paid for? Like, when was the first time you got paid for singing?
TikTok Live.
Oh, wow. When was that?
Like a year ago.
That is so crazy. And wait, how many followers have you increased in, like, a year? Like, when did you start? 2 years? Like, how did you...
Millions, I don't...
That's so crazy. Like,
It's
when you
crazy,
started,
bro.
then you said, how many did you have, and how many do you have now?
When I started singing?
Yeah, no, TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Well, I had 0 when I started.
No, but like, okay, like a year ago. You said from a year ago.
A year ago.
Like when you started making money off of like music and singing. Like what was like the growth in a year?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I started posting like my first singing TikTok.
Like when it started to like really go.
Well, I had like I don't know. I started with like 100,000. I think.
When was that?
Like last summer.
And how many do you have now?
7.1 million.
Oh my gosh.
Girl!
Crazy.
Crazy, bro.
We love to see it. That's so cool. Okay, so you wanna do the next one? This is the second one.
So do I ask you this?
Yeah, you can ask me.
Oh. What is your Hogwarts house?
Oh wait!
Wait, did I skip?
This one.
Okay. Oh, what is your favorite breakfast?
Ah.
But now I want to know about your Hogwarts
Okay,
house.
no, I'm like... My favorite breakfast is by far egg white omelet, smoked salmon, jalapenos, and goat cheese. Love it.
Oh, wow.
And arugula. So good.
I don't even know what arugula is, bro. What is that?
Oh, a very spicy salad. Spicy, because I guess I'm
That
kind
sounds so
of spicy.
bougie. That's so bougie, bro.
I know. Okay, wait.
I'm all cereal.
Who
So
am I
you
asking this? What was the
third one.
What was the last text you sent?
Oh. The last text I sent was to my husband, who I said we're going to be a little bit longer, and he's walking around Walmart waiting for me.
That's actually kind of funny. Oh my god. Okay.
Love that.
Whose turn? Let's see. What is your Hogwarts house? Am I like so I don't even.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
It's in Hogwarts. I'm gonna sound like the biggest nerd.
Okay, I'm like,
But
I
there's
mean,
different
that's kinda low-key
houses
why I
like
didn't wanna answer that
Ravenclaw and Gryffindor. And this is so embarrassing. I'm not gonna.
No, I
go
literally
on.
don't know what it is. We don't know what it
You
is. What
didn't-
is it? No, I don't know what it
It's
is.
Harry
Really,
Potter,
Harry
right?
Potter. Yeah, Harry Potter and the different
Oh.
houses.
But I don't even watch Harry Potter.
I've never seen it, yeah.
What?
You've
Okay.
never seen Avatar.
Okay, I'm
so-
watching Avatar, and you guys have to go home and watch Harry Potter because this is ridiculous. Because these are very big movies.
Fuck it, I'm gonna watch it.
Okay.
Okay, wait, okay, you watch Avatar,
I will.
we'll watch Harry. Or I just said, we'll watch Harry Styles. Okay, what is happening in my head right now? You know what? We'll watch Harry Styles. Okay. Jessie, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would you pick?
Oh, fuck.
That's a hard one. I'm glad I didn't get that one.
That's
I feel like that's a good one.
It's so hard to go.
Well,
I know one of them. Well, I would pick it for you.
Jack Harlow.
Ooh.
Soph. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, Jacob Elordi. These are my 3.
Ooh. Wow.
I included you.
That is good.
We love
I
that.
can't think of people on the spot. I couldn't think of their names.
Should we show her?
Oh, we have to show her now.
We have to show her now. You can turn around.
Just
Come in.
Just like,
Come
how
in.
do I get in there?
So,
Did I like say hi?
yeah, come in.
Hi.
It's therapy.
This is
Alright.
Soph, guys.
Welcome.
Hi.
Okay, should we? Okay,
Sorry
why
for this.
don't? Okay, how about you? You answer this.
Okay.
Finish the phrase. The weight of my heart is. Oh, this is a hard one
That's
too.
so fucking hard.
I'm just looking at how we put her on this
Through my
spot.
chest cavity.
Honestly, I love me some food, so I might do like pasta or something. Cause
Hell yeah.
Cause why not?
Cause why not?
Cause why not?
I'm not that hard to please, really.
What kind of pasta is the real
Oh
thing?
my god. I don't know.
Butter noodles.
Butter
Which one?
noodles.
Butter noodles or gas?
Buttered
Ichiban?
noodles.
Oh, I've never had that.
Ichiban.
Do you know what Ichiban is? Am I saying it right?
Ichiban.
Is it Ichiban?
I've heard it before.
Oh wait, am I going crazy?
No.
The skinny ones that have. Is this Canadian or am I just tripping?
I think it might be Canadian, bro.
No.
Wait, hold on, I'm
I've
looking
heard
it
it
up.
before.
Ichiban? Do you
It's
know
like
what that
a-
is?
It sounds familiar,
It's like a
but
type
it
of
also sounds like a
noodle,
muscle
right?
cream when you say it like that.
Okay, guys, I feel like I'm like, Ichiban noodles? Ugh, hold on.
Ichiban.
I feel like now I'm like, wait, am I tripping? No, that's a thing. If they're like really skinny, it's like so good. Okay, now we all have homework. We all gotta go try shit. Ichiban noodles. This is this.
Bro. Oh, like ramen.
Oh, ramen noodles.
Dude,
Yeah,
no, but they're
ramen.
like really skinny. They're not like the
They're like
big ones.
skinny?
Like skinny.
Gotcha, bro.
I mean, not to be like body conscious or anything.
No shaming the noodles.
I know, no shaming the noodles. Okay, so you do this one.
I'll ask you, advice you would give to your younger self. What advice would you give your younger self?
Not to be addicted to toxicness.
Yes!
Would she listen though?
She would not
She
listen,
would
bro.
not listen.
She definitely would not listen. Okay, that's it. I love you guys.
I
Big
love
hugs. Love you.
This was so fun.
This was so fun
Thank
and
you.
helpful.
It was so helpful. I love therapy, bro.
Okay, now she's going to therapy. She's in
This
this.
is
Okay,
Alright.
cool.
No camera though.
That was fun.
Camera.
Guys.
Was that good?
Yeah, I got like chills a few times.
Did you really?
Really?
Oh.
I'm gonna.
How do you feel about your first therapy session?
I loved it, bro.
That was actually good. You got
I
like
like
better
it.
as it like went.
I didn't even
We have to
cry.
take my
Guys.
name.
No, I literally please.
Love that. Okay.
Oh, I dropped this.
That was actually so cute.